Welcome. Welcome to this happy Monday.
Still setting up 1 second. Okay. Kind of goes into another bar. I'll tell you when. And we are live.
Live? What do you mean live?
We are live on Facebook right now.
Welcome, Facebook. Happy Monday. Monday Funday with Dr. Ricky Brar, the superstar. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Andrew Scopick, Mr. High Performance, and I'm happy to meet y'all. And welcome. Ricky, we have something we wanted to tell everybody. We have a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, absolutely. Surprise, guys. Me and Andrew have started a podcast, and it's called Monday Funday. So we've been talking about this for a couple of weeks now, and anytime we get together, me and Andrew have very interesting life experiences. And when we mesh together, we kind of get the best of both worlds come together. And it's usually into a chaotic like laughter storm and everybody's buckled over. So we thought we should share this because in this space right now, there's so many podcasts. So the last thing anybody needs is another podcast. But we're really hoping ours is something new, something exciting, because we're going to be talking about the side of health that no one really talks about, the side of performance no one really talks about with full focus. Everybody's talking about diets and new plans and supplements and things like that, but not to saying that those things aren't good, but there's a whole different side to it. And we're seeing it more and more in the clients and the patients that we work with. So we're so excited to bring this here with you today. And I'm so excited to share it with my man, Andrew Scopick, High Performance.
Going up. Yeah, so guys, we don't hope this is going to be exciting or new or advantageous for you to tune in on. We know. And the only reason we know is because of all the feedback Ricky and I have both got from our communities at LPI, working and looking. Ricky will tell you more about what he does, but helping people understand, what does your journey look like? And so for me, I can help people where their journey is going to go, because guess what? I came from a place, as Ricky knows all too well, I had severe breathing issues, chronic digestive, autoimmune issues, lost my hormones, my strength, my mood, my focus, my memory, my zest, and started the slow, arduous process on my own back. And I'm going to be honest, I knocked on doors of LPI and said, hey, I need some help. I need some support. And Ricky was there to say, hey, you've got some great skills, but let's stop guessing. Let's just get to the root of this. And so I want to honor my brother and my comrades for not only acknowledging the importance of getting to the root of it, but for taking me in. And here I am ready to share this with you. And I got into high performance because what we find is that when people get to the point where they have that energy and that health, now what are you going to do with it? Now what? What are the skilled traits of high achievers and successful people? And we'll get into that much later. But I just want to introduce myself. Ricky, take it over.
Yeah, absolutely. And me and Andrew have this interesting story together because we've both worked with each other in the capacity of our expertise. So when Andrew came to me, he came to me as a patient of functional medicine. When I came to Andrew, I came to him looking for advice and expertise on high performance. And we'll both share our stories here in more detail with you. I'll share mine first, and then we'll share Andrew's as well. And then what we got from these transformative experiences as well. So with me, many of you have heard my story. If you haven't, I started as a patient at the Living Proof Institute, which is a world-renowned functional medicine clinic in Mississauga, Ontario, and in Ohio in the US. So it's an international clinic that houses some of the most brilliant minds, some of the most heart-centered practitioners. And I went there when I had just graduated from chiropractic school after suffering from about 14 years of poor health. I had digestive issues, and what was really bugging me day in, day out was this chronic anxiety that I just couldn't shake. And anybody that knows me would say I'm a pretty laid back, calm person. I like to joke around. Even when I was going through this anxiety, I was like, where the hell is this coming from? So I didn't leave any stone unturned. I visited experts. I flew to parts of the US to figure out what was going on with me, and nobody really had an answer for me until I came to Living Proof. And that is my first exposure to functional medicine. I didn't even know what functional medicine was before. And working with Dr. Sachin Patel at the time, he really helped me come back to life. I was over my anxiety in like 3 weeks. I had amazing energy again. My digestion 2 to 3 months later was night and day. And about then, I was so inspired by my own journey. I joined the team, and slowly over time, I became the head clinician at the Mississauga office. So this is what I do full time now, is I see patients in a functional medicine capacity. But the interesting part about this is, as many practitioners who may be listening, some of you might be other doctors, some of you might be nutritionists, what are we guilty of once we get better, or once we have a lot of patients that are relying on us? Our health takes a back seat. So I started to notice that I started getting some of the old energy symptoms creep back in. I noticed I wasn't really thriving anymore. I was hanging on. And that's where Andrew came into my life. And when Andrew came into my life, yeah, that guy over there, he really helped me see a different lens, or through myself through a different lens, because now I started to realize that any bit of performance that I can improve on my side, it's going to magnify to all my patients, right? And I can't be this leaky battery for my patients. I have to show up my best version. And what does that start with? Putting myself first. So we've gone through, I think, about 5 sessions, and we're going still, but in those 5 sessions, I've never had more clarity. And these sessions are actually trickling over to my patients just in the past week. And I'll share this in future episodes. I had 3 appointments with patients where I would say it's a 1-hour appointment, 50 minutes were discussing things non-functional medicine, and they produced the biggest breakthroughs for my patients, things that they have been looking for the longest time. So this is why we're doing this podcast today. Patients don't realize that there's a lot more to health than the perfect diet, the perfect supplementation regime. So that is how my story started, and how I ended up in Andrew's realm, and now how we have this kind of this functional medicine, high performance baby together called this podcast. So I'll let Andrew share his full story now and how he met me. So it's how our stories overlap.
Yeah, and I think it's best to start with this overlap, this puzzle. Ricky Brar, one piece, Andrew Scopick, another. And let's just use the metaphor of a Jenga puzzle, and as you put one block in and the other, obviously there's a lot of interconnected pieces here, and we're going to build the layers. Now, obviously the goal is that when the Jenga falls over, hopefully you guys are going to learn something and have some jokes on the show. That's the point of this. I too, like Ricky, through my 20s, I suffered chronic joint problems, for back pain, knee pain, shoulder pain that just wouldn't go away, and also really bad attitude, like probably many of you. I'm just joking. Don't take offense yet. But and then I ended up with massive anxiety. Later found out that it was highly related or correlated to my mercury and silver fillings. And I would stutter nonstop through university. Now, luckily, I had this innate gift to absorb information and absorb it in a way that it fundamentally got me great grades. But after graduating cum laude with physics and kinesiology, I ended up getting into sales. So I had this sort of, Bruce Wayne Batman life, where inside the Batcave, I was practicing activities that I learned from monks, learning about Ayurvedic medicine, practices that I learned from naturopaths, but I was still this sales guy in the sales world. And again, what I learned is that if your vision of yourself isn't congruent with how others see you, then you can kind of get some disalignment. And that led to a significant breakdown. And so in my early 30s, I ended up having massive challenges. I shouldn't actually be here right now. And that's based on the impression and interpretation of a number of other professionals that I sought expertise from. And so what that looked like is I had severe breathing challenges, where I couldn't even hold my breath for like 2 seconds. Now you'll ask and say, hey, wouldn't a puffer or a steroid medication help with that? And you know what? Probably would, but I was stubborn. And I knew that if I was going to figure this out, the last thing I needed is a medication to prevent me from experiencing and learning from my situation. Now, if I go back a little bit in my early 20s, my mother was actually bedridden. Doctors had given up on her. She was bedridden, massive joint pain. So you understand what that looks like. screaming pain from every joint. Now, we found out many years later that it was from, I won't mention the drug name, but it was a side effect to a bone density medication. But going back to that point, here's my mother who's bedridden. And so I started learning about natural healing outside of university in my early 20s. And I supported her. And she's been pain-free for about 20 years now, 17, 18 years now. So going through my 20s, I got to learn some really cool things. I tried a lot of products, a lot of therapies, technologies. I was a guy that was buying this product and this workbook and this health help and trying this from David Avocado Wolf to Joseph Mercola to Peter Ragnar. I mean, my credit card bill definitely proved that I was hungry for this. And so fast forward, when I hit this brick wall with my breathing and my bloating and extreme constipation, like talking like sometimes 5 days before being able to go, I decided to take up the opportunity to get trained in functional medicine. So I enrolled in functional diagnostic nutrition with Reed Davis to get to the root of my issue. The challenge is if you're not flying overhead of your issue because you're living in that issue, that bucket, it's really hard to be able to see all the factors or even to be specialized enough as Ricky is, as you'll understand, and figuring out what I needed. So I started there working with Paul Check as a lifestyle design consultant, holistic lifestyle consultant. Then I became a Buteyko breathing practitioner. Check out the Oxygen Advantage by Patrick McEwen. Russian breathing method helped me retrain my breathing rhythms and where I was breathing. And so, but I was still not quite where I wanted to be. And naturally, as many of you may have had the opportunity to see, I was attracted to Sachin, well, both in a couple of ways, but nonetheless, let's keep this professional. But I saw him speak and I couldn't believe his message. It felt so natural and so honest. And I felt like there's something going on here. It's like a Deepak Chopra for functional medicine. And the light bulb went on and said, I need to jump aboard that train, no matter how that looks. And so for me, I secretly knew I had some things that I needed to work on, but I also knew I had some skill sets that might help them. So here I am. And so what I started doing with the team, first and foremost, I started jumping on calls with people who also were going through some sort of health journey, struggle, transformation, might have hit plateau. And that led me in the months to follow to be able to sit down with Ricky and really start to dig deep so I could get into the health that truly was by design by a specialist in that art. And moving on forward from that, it did take some months, as Ricky will attest to, but all of a sudden it's like, hey, Andrew, you look fresher, you look younger, you look this, you look that. And it was my decision almost 2 years ago to invest in the pursuit of high performance. And if many of you don't know what this is, the world's largest performance study was conducted. 2 million people were involved in the study. And from that, they extracted high achievers, people that made a way above average income, had amazing levels of confidence and health and joy, happiness. And from those extracted high achievers, they were able to find out that there were 6 habits, not unconscious habits like breathing exercises at yoga. We're talking about 6 habits that you need to focus on. They don't get easier with time. You focus on them. And so when I caught wind of this, I thought, okay, if I get my health to this level, where can I go with it? And I knew that after I refocused and rebuilt my health, that I wanted to redefine the life that I wanted to live. And now I help others like Ricky do that. So again, it's sort of it's like a double impact, right? You got Jean-Claude Van Damme on one side. It might be a really poor movie reference. Nonetheless, Ricky, what do you think of that? Does that sound like a place where I came from? Do you remember me walking into your office?
Yeah, absolutely. So I got to finish your joke and call you the Arnold to my Jean-Claude Van Damme, right?
Shut up now.
So Andrew's into high performance now, but along the way, going through the functional medicine program as well, he ended up losing how much weight total?
It was 30 pounds, actually.
And a lot of that was in a very short span of time as well, right? So it was amazing to see, because when I first met Andrew, I saw his intake form and I was like, there is no way this guy is this age. I'm like, that is an impossibility. He always has his baby face. And I know I'd probably get it as well. When I'm 40, I'm probably still going to get 30. So we both have that going for them. But then after you lost that weight, it was just like, holy crap, you just reverse age 5 years. And the interesting thing here is that he's also helped people in a high performance capacity. And one of the most powerful things that Andrew has ever said to me, and I wanted to put it on a poster with his bicep and his face in it, is that you get paid to be an example, right? So when you're a practitioner, you're being paid to be an example. So you can't really let yourself slide. You can't be this low energy person telling people to go get high energy. And in one of the episodes, we'll talk about imposter syndrome. And that's when people don't feel like they're playing the part. If you have low energy and you're telling people to have more energy and these supplements are going to give you more energy, or this nutritional plan, you feel like a fraud. That's imposter syndrome. And I'm sure many of us can relate to that in different capacities. So both of us went through our journeys to get rid of this imposter syndrome. And one of the beautiful things today is that we have access to a mentorship. We mentor clinicians across the world, and they are the most amazing heart-centered group of clinicians trying to make an impact in people's health worldwide. It's through the Living Proof Institute, but they are susceptible to burnout. They're not invincible. They always put their patients ahead of themselves. They are known to kind of put themselves last when things are going really busy. So Andrew has been helping them on a high performance capacity. I help them on a clinical capacity, and we're even seeing the transformation in the people that we're working with. And the foundation of this is that people don't have a plan. They don't have a strategy. They don't have somebody telling them how to live their life, what to avoid, what type of things to value, how to start your day. So even with working with Andrew for just a short period of time, 5 sessions over 5 weeks, I've made some huge changes. My energy has doubled, if not tripled. I'm not really falling asleep during the day anymore. I'm eating much better. My body fat percentage has dropped. There's just so much good news going on. And the main purpose of this podcast, the reason we're doing this, is people just don't know what they don't know. So we're here to disseminate it. And we got to think of a better comparison in terms of a tag team or a duo, right? Like, I feel like we need to get a poster made, and it's just a giant you with like these big giant biceps, and I'm like a little guy sitting on your muscle with the
bicep. Sitting perched atop like on a tree swing. Ultimately, we're doing a nice intro overview today. I got to jump off for a high performance session in about 5 minutes. But the reason Ricky and I had a number of conversations about this is that we're finding there are really 2 camps, okay? 2 camps of people. There's ones that are coming in and they're being responsive and they're wanting to learn and they're doing their best and they're amazing. They're amazing patients, they're amazing friends. And then there's others that may be sitting on the fence. There's others that say, but I've tried everything, but yet they haven't had a chance to sit down with Ricky. They haven't had a chance to really understand the culture that someone like Sachin Patel has created, or even myself. If you haven't jumped on a free discovery call with me, then you haven't tried everything. And the one challenge that I have is we're seeing sort of a flatlining society. I'm going to be honest. There's not a lot of emotion out there. And it can be difficult. The drive is down. A lot of people are going through the motions. And if you expect anything to change in your life, if you want to upgrade your health, if you want to upgrade your relationships, your influence, your community, what you do, oh, but Andrew, I want to make more money. Great. Who are you to deserve that? And who are you serving? Because do you walk in to the office to see your doctor with a solemn, long face? Or are you willing to show up every day as the character of a new, exciting movie that is focused on you and your healing and your growth and your expansion, right? We're not going to get all woo-woo on you, but we are going to tell you this imposter syndrome, we're seeing it all the time. Oh, but I've been trying so hard, I want to heal. Okay, great. Well, look in the mirror, say hi to yourself, and smile, right? And so we got to lighten this up a little bit. I'm going to be honest. There's a heavy cloud over health right now. And a big part of the reason Ricky and I are bringing these thoughts to you is because we're working with so many clinicians around the world and patients. And we're seeing that there's a theme here, is that the patient's coming in and handing off energy that a lot of clinicians aren't ready for. And over time, that's leading to this practitioner burnout. That's leading to the fatigue. And so what we're going to share with you on a weekly basis are ways of reframing your day. You know, did you get excited the way Ricky and I did to jump on this? Did you get excited for your Monday, or you get more excited when Friday comes around? If that's the case, well, but you know, I got the weekend off. Well, listen here. Life, there's no time to take off. There's time to enjoy, to regenerate, replenish, rejuvenate, reframe, re-engage, reintroduce, restart old habits, right? Behave in a sort of a rebirthing manner. But, you know, like, is Monday, that's the reason we chose Mondays, because most people, they're on their way to work, and very carefully in traffic, you'll see, look left and right, and you'll see people with like a...
Yeah, that's why I love Gary Vaynerchuk. Mondays are awesome. Like, that's kind of his saying, right? So
yeah.
It's pretty sad. If you hate Mondays, that tells you a lot about where your life is going and in what direction you're headed in. And the funniest thing, you mentioned it, is when patients come to you or clients come to you and they're like, tried everything, I've tried every program, then you're like, dude, what are you doing here? You've already tried this, right? And then they're kind of like mind blown. How am I finding new things to try with you to help you get better if you've already tried everything? So we're going to be talking about language. We're going to be talking about what we see in people who don't get better, what we see in people who have been through suffering.
Everything.
Yeah.
Gestures, moving, shaking. Like, you guys think Ricky and I know how to have fun? Like, we know how to have fun. You got to shake that up. Like, if the energy is stagnant, well, guess what? Guess what else is going to be stagnant? Everything, right? So if you frame Monday like it's the, oh, let's go to work.
Yeah.
How's the rest of your week feel? Because you're actually framing the week like it's painful or it's going to be hard or difficult. Now, we're not here to say that there's a right way and there's a wrong way. But guess what? There's a better way to feel. And inside how you feel, you'll make better choices. You'll take more action, right? And Ricky and I will be here on a very, not polar, but we have a very dualistic point of view. It's very complete, right? Ricky from the science side and reading those labs that I wasn't patient enough, didn't really care for it. But man, has it changed my life to have that in my life. And on the other side, okay, why has your energy drained? What kind of relationships might be draining you? What type of behavior, distractions are showing up in your life that are causing the energy to flatline and allowing some of these infections to overtake the cells inside the body? So we'll talk more about that. The key, though, is that this is going to be very interactive. It's going to be every Monday. I think we'll agree that 11 a.m. Eastern is our time.
Yeah, absolutely, for the live, and then we'll make the recordings available afterwards. But our commitment to you is every Monday. And the interactive part is we want to know what you guys want to hear as well. Like, shoot it in the comments below right now as well. If you're listening live or if you're listening after the fact, just leave us a comment. Tell us what you're maybe struggling with, or if you're a practitioner, what have you seen in your own patients that is not discussed? How could we take some of that weight off your shoulders? So we're super pumped for this. We are going to try to be the dynamic duo here and really
We're
see,
going to.
already
we got to move this weight. Like, what are you waiting for, right? I get it. There's weight here, but there's also weight and hesitation in front of you. And guess what? As soon as you decide to go a little further, maybe some of that weight falls off, right? One step at a time. And it's going to be plenty of metaphors, trust me. It's going to be plenty of jokes and comments. We're likely not going to make fun of each other unless it's suitable at our expense, so you guys have the advantage of laughing.
I can't guarantee I'm not going to make fun of you. I'm sorry.
Well, then it's just free. It's just free range. We're ready to go. It's an open game now. But yeah, so whatever questions you have, throw them in. If it's something that Ricky and I can really just shoot off a response to, we will do that. But we're also going to compile the best questions. And so check this out. This is more than you realize. We're going to compile the best questions. And then we're going to engage those questions on behalf of the person asking them and give you a shout out. And then every week, we've got some prizes we're going to be giving out. We're going to have some, for the best question, for the best interaction, we're going to have some extra excitement that we're going to be brewing inside this Living Proof community pot. And so it's your job to make sure you throw your ingredient in, because, right, we need some taste here.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But I'm super pumped, and we'll see you guys next week. Enjoy the rest of the day. Take care, everyone.
Yeah. Have a great week. We'll talk to you soon.